developing international and global strategies, one obvious question is, how do we get started? There are at least two answers to this question. Start with the country or start with the company, and this short film focuses more on the country. So what do we need to do? What do we need to know? What will help us to select a country or a group of countries for our international expansion? Take Nepal, for instance. It has a small population, has relatively low wealth. It's a wonderful, friendly country and has great scenic beauty. This means that it might be good for expansion in the tourism industry, but it would not be so attractive for sophisticated consumer electronics. By contrast, its near neighbour, India, has a much larger population and a strong and wealthy middle class, even though the average wealth is still quite low. This means that there is a market for more expensive goods. The problem with India is that the trade barriers have been restrictive over the last few years, making imports more expensive. And of course, although India may be attractive, the world's largest and wealthiest market for many products and services is the United States of America. That's the market to enter if you really want to be global. But it's also the toughest, highly competitive, highly efficient, and highly likely to be the graveyard of many a foreign company. However, its near neighbour, Canada, can sometimes be a bridge into the USA. Canada has very strong trade ties with its much larger neighbour. But for many exporters, including the world's largest manufacturing exporter, China, the USA is actually not the biggest market. The world's leading market, both by population and total wealth, is the European Union. This is both a trade and a political bloc consisting of some 26 countries headquartered in Brussels, Belgium. The EU is dominated by two major manufacturing countries. The first is Germany, with high wealth, high levels of education, and the largest single country within the European Union. The second is France, also with high wealth and a strong sense of its own identity and history. Roughly equal in population come another group of countries, typified by the United Kingdom, which has a much smaller manufacturing base but a strong financial services base. Other countries like Italy, Spain, Poland, and Malta make up the European Union. Some are wealthy, like Austria, while others are struggling, like Ireland and Hungary. Bordering the EU is the great country of Russia, with its snowy winters, its strong history, and its culture and increasing wealth. But European Union markets are mature with relatively low growth. Perhaps the real choice for international strategy rests with the new growing markets of Asia, including India. And here's where China becomes an alternative, attractive proposition. Massive population, relatively fast growth, an expanding middle class, and a hunger for new industrial and consumer goods. And we shouldn't forget China's semi-autonomous region, Hong Kong, which is also important both as a market in itself and as a gateway to China. But China is not the only major Asian market. Japan still remains one of the world's wealthiest countries, and South Korea is also important, if somewhat behind. Further south on the Asian rim, we have Australia and New Zealand, both with great natural resources and significant wealth, and also other important states on the rim, like Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. But this is not the end of country choice. We have three more world areas. First, there is the Mediterranean basin, with countries like Turkey, Israel and Egypt, the Emirates and Saudi Arabia. Obviously, there are political issues here at present that may raise the strategic risk of entering such countries, but many companies have found this area attractive. Second, we have the continent of Central and South America. Generally, there are lower levels of wealth, but these countries are beginning to grow. Brazil is the largest, both in terms of wealth and physical size. It has a significant middle class, and it's certainly growing. By contrast, other countries like Peru and Nicaragua have struggled to grow in recent years, and Argentina has also faced problems typical of many South American countries. But they have real potential for the future. Third, we have the other southern continent, Africa. Its many countries make up a rich patchwork of international opportunities. Admittedly, the levels of wealth are low, but the mineral wealth, the natural beauty, and the low wage costs and the innate skills of peoples in Africa, typified by the country of South Africa itself, all suggest that Africa's time may come over the next few years. Which countries to pick for international strategy? Well, that depends on market size and wealth, consumer tastes and culture, country growth and trade barriers, existing local competitors, and of course the political stance of national governments to the entry of new foreign companies. Selecting countries is a heady and complex mix with no simple answers.